The Guyana election will be won by. Hello, lovely people. Welcome to Answer Monday on the Extreme Wise Predictions channel. And in this video, we're going to be responding to our viewers' questions in the comment section. If you want your questions to be answered, kindly put them in under this video so that your questions may be featured in our next Answer Monday. If you are new to the channel, kindly like, subscribe, and also don't forget to turn on your notification bell so that you can get notified when we post similar videos like this. Let's get into the video. Today is Answer Monday. We have Mata. Mata says, will the Fed cut tariffs before this year ends? I think the question is tailored to the fact that will Fed cut rates before the end of the year? And the short answer is yes. There will be, they are going to have, I think, numerous chances, at least 2 chances in cutting rates. And I see that there's going to be a rate cut before the end of this year. Let's get into the next question. So we have Sobia here who says that, is the fate of Belgium linked to that of France? Will Belgium remain a kingdom? So and this question is not really clear to me in terms of when you say, will the fate of Belgium be linked to France? At least we all know that Belgium and France are already linked together, especially, having Belgium and France already being founding fathers when we come to Europe. And also their borders are actually being open for each other in terms of Schengen and stuff like that. So when you say the fate of Belgium, it's not really clear to me. I want to know in what regards that we are talking about in terms of because they are already linked together at this moment, and I don't see that answering the question in that direction will not maybe be clear to you or will not be clear to me as well based on the question that is being asked, because they have a lot in common when it comes to Belgium and France already. They are part of NATO. Their military systems are almost the same. So in one way or another, they are already linked together when it comes to multiple things. They are part of the EU, and all these things are all linked or intertwined. And when countries are doing the same thing, we consider them as linked together. So if you can make your question to be a little bit clear or detailed in terms of what you are looking for, I can be able to respond in a psychic view. Let's go to the next question. We have Catherine. Catherine is confirming the previous prediction that I made for Australia. And then she also says that I live in Tasmania, a tiny island below mainland Australia. Could you possibly tell us if we are in danger of from natural events in the near future? I have been dreaming of tsunami hitting and also extremely devastated wildlife. I will be grateful if you have any information to share. Okay, so let me see what I can see of Tasmania. So when we come to, I think it's a very tiny island, like you are saying. So when we come to Tasmania, I'm just going to pick maybe 1 or 2 things in Tasmania and then we'll move forward. So when you're looking at Tasmania, you were talking about tsunami, but I see earthquakes in Tasmania. I don't know if earthquakes they come from, tsunami. I know definitely tsunami will be the cause of, sometimes will be the cause when there are water bodies around. Tsunami will be the cause of most of the earthquakes, but I see earthquake hitting Tasmania. That's what I see happening. I see earthquakes that are boiling up going to be hitting Tasmania. So yeah, natural disaster is going to be hitting Tasmania. Maybe I'll look into it more in terms of when or is it this year or something like that. But I see that earthquakes is going to hit Tasmania. The world is going to crumble and the earthquake is going to hit a lot of places. So is part of something that we have to be looking forward to. So maybe your dreams are telling you something that this is really going to be happening. So that's what I see happening. Let's move on to the next question. So we have Jane. Jane says that with the pandemic, is this an airborne virus like COVID, or is it contracted through red meat? So, I think that sometimes when we make predictions, you have to take your time a little bit to listen. And if some of the words are not clear, kindly repeat so that you can get the words clearly. To answer the questions, the pandemic is an airborne virus to clear the air. The goal is that the goal of the pandemic is not really the pandemic is the goal. Whatever that they want to do, the pandemic is not the goal. The pandemic is not what they are looking forward to actually achieve. What they are trying to achieve is the ability to control humans. So for us to be controlled, it has to go through some vaccination. A lot of people from Africa, we normally have maybe on the left or the right part of, you know, we have like a mark that normally, through birth, and then they say it's kind of some of the things that the vaccinations that you need to be taking, those kind of things. So in terms of the pandemic that they want to release, is for them to have the ability to be able to control humans. So I told you that the signs that this pandemic is going to be coming is that you see that there's going to be a lot of deforestation of trees within most countries. And then I think they did it in a smart move where they have actually started doing forest fires. There's a lot of forest fires happening in most of the country. So if you like listen to the news about forest fires, and then you will see that within the country that you are living in, there's a lot of fires that is coming up. And these fires, they say, is an accident, but it is not an accident. This is something that I can say that they have orchestrated because it's part of the ability to control us, because the waves, the frequency will determine how many people can be controlled. So if there is trees and wildlife that is blocking, the frequency, it's the ability to control humans is not going to be efficient. So they need to cut down most trees to allow the frequency to flow freely. So this is part of the plan. So when the pandemic comes, it's not going to be like you are being forced to take a vaccine. And we have already known, the vaccination for COVID and stuff like that. Now people are coming out that they shouldn't have, given us the vaccination because it's not really tested and stuff. These are the things that we are seeing. So when the pandemic comes, you will be obligated to take vaccines, and then they will make it a mandate for government employees to actually take the vaccination like they did with COVID. Like if you were not if you did not take the vaccination, you will be fired from your job. So this is some of the things that is going to be happening. And when they see that the number of people who have taken the vaccination is just a little, then they will start vaccinating animals so that we feeding on those animals will get the vaccination indirectly. So it's also something that they are also have in their plan as a plan B to be able to control humans. That is what they are trying to achieve. And this controlling of humans is based on the fact of the war, like world war and stuff that is going to be happening based on that fact. So they want to be able to control your feelings, control your actions, control multiple things that you do, so that it's either increase or minimize world wars around the world. So this is the actual idea or the mindset that they have in terms of releasing the vaccination into the world. All right, let's go to the next question. I have Delay, and Delay says, "Thank for the amazing work you do. Can you see anything about Russia?" So I think I've already made predictions about Russia already, and my predictions about Russia still holds. I don't change predictions. predictions are for awareness. So if a prediction doesn't come to pass, doesn't mean that the prediction was wrong. The prediction actually created awareness for the one who is involved in that prediction, or who is within that prediction, to prepare or to change certain things so that nature will be able to favor to to come into their favor. So if I predict that if you go to a specific country, you are not going to succeed, and you don't go to that specific country, it doesn't mean that wherever you find yourself, you're not going to succeed. It means that you took precautions and you actually avoided going to a specific country not to succeed. So that is the thing. What I see for Russia, I'll say that I already had a prediction for Russia where I was saying that Putin may pass away this year, but I feel that he won't, because there is one more thing that he has to be able to accomplish before even passing away. And I think they have done they have taken a lot of precaution concerning his life. And I told you guys that whoever is going to succeed Putin will be more strict than Putin himself. So that's what I see. I think that whilst I'm talking about Putin and then who is succeeding Putin, I also see that Russia will not end the war this year. The war will eventually, or the conflict with Ukraine will eventually may lead to World War Three. Like I told you, that in terms of World War Three, it is about we agreeing that we are in a world war or not. So if you are in denial that we are not in a world war, then that means that to you we are not in a world war. But what actually makes a world war? When the world leaders are at war, that is what world war means. It means that world leaders are at war. So the three world countries, which is US, Russia, and China, when they are at war in terms of backing, it could be indirectly or directly, when they are, that makes it a world war. And here's a case that we have one of the major world leaders at war, that is Russia, and then we are having the backings of other countries like China and US within. So it is eventually a world war, like I see. And I see that the leaders of Russia has vowed to see through the end of this war. So they are not backing down. They are going to see through the end of the war. So whoever takes over, if Putin is not even in power, will actually see to the end of the war. That's why I told you that the one who will succeed Putin will be as strict as Putin himself. So that is what I see. And then they will continue sending missiles. They will continue attacking with drones. So I see that happening. Drones attacks is going to be happening to Ukraine. This is what I see happening as well. And then whilst I'm talking about that, like I told you that the world leaders have actually vowed. And then whilst I'm picking on that, if you guys can check and let me know that I see that forest fires have started in Russia. And there's going to be numerous forest fires in Russia, because I told you about what the agenda is for the pandemic. So this is part of what I see happening. So with the pandemic, and I see that forest fires are started already in Russia, and it's happening, and it's going to be intense based on the fact that they want to have this vaccination thing to control humans in place. I also see that Russia has actually, I don't know if like they are special troops or they are special agents, some people who are specially trained. It could be military people who are specially trained, but I see a group of secret services who are specially trained to assassinate leaders. So here's a case that these people are going to be going in and assassinating politicians in Ukraine or top leaders in Ukraine. I see that happening. That a special force has been specially trained from Russia to enter in. So those who are in Ukraine, who are the top leaders who are in Ukraine, who are not allowing, Russia to take over those lands, are being targeted to be assassinated. That's what I see happening. And let me shift, because these are sensitive topics. I don't want to dive deeper into some of the things that I see about Russia. Let me just cut it from here and move on. So I noticed that in my previous video that Guyana was having an election this year. And since Guyana is having an election today, which is September the 1st, 2025, I'm going to be repeating my prediction that the Guyana election will be won by Mohammed Ephraim Ali, who is from the People's Progressive Party or Civil, that's the PPPC, will be the one to win the election. He's going to go on to a second term, and this is what I see happening. I know the opposition is very strong, but I see that Mohammed Ephraim Ali is going to be winning the election in Guyana on September 1st, 2025. That is today. Let me shift my attention to South Africa. So I saw somebody, commenting about South Africa. um, whilst I pick about on South Africa, I see that the mining industry in South Africa will introduce a new style of mining, um, which will make mining stocks surge in terms of go up. The stocks of mining will go up. I see that happening. I don't know if they do stocks in South Africa, but I see that the stocks of mining will go up. Whilst I speak about stocks, I also see that there are some individuals who are advocating about trading in stocks. I see that there's going to be like a fraud scheme in terms of arresting those people. Most of them, I see that most of them are involving into, I don't know if it is illegal. It's not illegal. It looks like they are defrauding their followers. And I see this being exposed in mainstream where most of them who are the advocates for trading in stocks is going to be arrested. So I see this happening in South Africa where those individuals who are advocating, I don't know, but I see people who are leading the fact that they are teaching people that trading in stock will make you rich and stuff like that. Those people, I see them being exposed and most of them getting arrested in South Africa. So I see that happening. If you guys can confirm that this is something that has already started happening or is going to be happening in South Africa, I see most of them being arrested as I speak right now. I see also that there's going to be, whilst I talk about fraud, I see that there's going to be like a political scandal that is going to be unfolding in South Africa. And this is going to be very, very, very huge. It's going to be very big. And I see that happening in South Africa. Whilst I talk about things that are huge, I'm picking up that like a tech company in South Africa will start laying off employees. Some employees in a huge tech company. This could be like a vehicle company, this could be like an IT company, but I see that a huge tech company will start laying off his employees. This is a huge tech company, so it's going to hit the mainstream media that a huge tech company will start laying off his employees or their employees. I see that happening in South Africa. And I'm seeing that there will be an issue of freedom of speech in South Africa. You see how the whole world, most of the time, we have the freedom of speech where you can say what your mind is if you are not implicating someone or something like that. But I see that freedom of speech in South Africa will have an issue where individuals will be afraid of speaking up. It's like something like that happening, that individuals in South Africa will be afraid of speaking up. So if you put, camera in front of you and you say something, it's like you are going to be impeached or you are going to be found guilty, something like that. It's like people are unable to. I'm doing this live, so sometimes I'm not taking my time to interpret the things that I'm seeing. It's difficult to interpret the things that I see. So it looks like individuals are unable to put camera in front of them to speak up. That's what I see happening in South Africa. That when you do that, it's like the police or the law is going to come for you. So I see that happening a lot in South Africa, and that's what I see happening. And also, I see that there's going to be like, I see like there's a gathering, right? Where when I'm looking at the gathering, I see like great people within the gathering. It looks like the great people are in the form of African presidents that are in South Africa, that have come together in South Africa. And I see them sitting down and then they are having a discussion. And I'm looking in and I'm leaning into those discussions. I'm feeling that they are talking about financial stuff or economy, how to improve the economic structure in Africa. And I see that happening this year, that it's like they are coming as one and trying to improve their economy collectively. So I see that happening, and I see something. There's something that is going to be happening. It's either before the event or after the event. I see that happening in South Africa, like great presidents gathering together and something happening. These are sensitive information, so I'm unable to give a lot of details in terms of what actually may happen around that time, because we are talking about world leaders here in this place. So I see them gathering. I don't know. They are almost close to 20. Um, that's where I see. I'm picking the picture of 19, but I'm putting it up to 20 world leaders or world president gathering or African president gathering and then discussing about economy and how to collectively improve their economy collectively. And I see that something will be raised that is going to bring an issue. So I see that happening in South Africa. And I see that also that South Africa has a lot of, I don't know if South Africa is like a corrupt country or something like that, but I'm picking up something like corruption around the borders. So I see like border of Zimbabwe, Mozambique, like smuggling of vehicles, illegal activities happening in South Africa, a lot of corruptions, and I see that this is going to get worse. And whilst I'm picking it up on that, it's like it is not something new to them in South Africa. It looks like, you know how maybe if someone is corrupt and they are doing something, like they expect that you know it is already corrupt. That's the feeling I'm having, that they already know what is happening within the borders already. So it's like the activity is getting worsened and there is no measures that they are putting in place to actually rectify this activity. And let me give you one point that I think this will be raised within the leadership meeting that they are going to have, the presidential meeting that they are going to have in South Africa. You know what? Let me leave it here for now. You know, thank you guys for watching today's Answer Monday. If you want your questions to be answered, kindly put them in the comment section of this video and you may be featured in our next Answer Monday video. Thank you guys.